arguing last June's landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision afforded same-sex couples the right to marry in all 50 states. Now, in a phone interview with Chief Justice Roy Moore, who issued the order, said judges were bound by the state Supreme Court's decision last March halting same-sex marriage until that court determines the effect on the state of the national ruling. A federal judge in Alabama overturned the state's ban on same-sex marriage last January. Now, there's great confusion out there as to what orders to obey, Moore said. I'm not causing the confusion, I'm trying to clarify it. Now, many probate judges in Georgia evidently were issuing marriages to same-sex couples while others refused to do so. I don't... Yeah, no, look. You can agree or not agree with same-sex marriage. I don't know where the confusion comes from with the Supreme Court's decision. I'm not a lawyer that's versed in this type of Supreme Court decisions and stuff, but from what I gather, I thought it was a pretty clear-cut decision. What the Supreme Court of the United States said. Now, evidently, there are some learned people who are looking at the decision and what was written about the decision and how the Supreme Court justices wrote the decision for the U.S. Supreme Court that causes some to think that it's not as clear as the rest of us think. I'm just saying, evidently, when you think something's over and settled, it's not over and settled after. Well, kind of like climate change, right? But evidently, this whole notion of, at least in Georgia right now, and they're not the only. Well, you had was it Kentucky? The county clerk in Kentucky refused to issue licenses for same-sex couples. I guess it's not as clear-cut as we all thought. So this is not the end of this debate. Everybody's out there celebrating and thinking that they've gotten away with something, I guess. But evidently, that's not the case. Just saying. Here's something from the You Can't Make This Stuff Up from the Funny News Files, and it's WJLA, ABC. ABC 7 News, WJLA. The news car was broken into while the crew was attending an anti-robbery press conference in D.C. You can't make this stuff up. Oh, my goodness. An ABC 7 Washington, D.C. news vehicle was broken into while the crew was attending a press conference held by D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Police Chief Kathy Lanier to discuss a task force to created to fight robberies. Now, according to ABC 7 News reporter Stephen Tshida, T-S-H-I-D-A, thieves tore through the news vehicle Wednesday morning, and a culprit smashed a window out of the car and stole a cache of equipment. Now, Tshida said the crime happened within view of where the mayor and the chief were speaking, approximately 100 feet away. So they were 100 feet away in full view of the mayor and the police chief giving a conference talking about a task force that they just developed to stop and cut down on robberies. And they they got robbed. I'm sorry. It's not funny when somebody breaks into your car and rifles through your possessions. I understand that. Look, I've had my car broken into and my radio stolen out of my car before. They didn't break the window, but they did break the lock. Because it wasn't really hard at the time. It was a stupid little Hyundai. It wasn't hard to do, but so I understand the sense of personal violation that you feel. Although the radio didn't work, So it was a tape deck, cassette tape in radio, and the cassette tape didn't work. So it was kind of interesting to see. I was kind of like, well, hey, there you go. It does. I got the last laugh because now they're going to try to fence a broken cassette deck radio from a Hyundai. But I still understand the anger and the sense of violation that goes along with it. But I'm telling you, it's funnier than hell to sit here and see a report of a news crew covering a liberal political conference on reducing crime, a specific type of crime called robbery, and within clear ear and eyesight, have their vehicle thoroughly robbed. You can't. That's George Carlin would probably have something very witty to say about that, because I do miss him. You gotta, if you never heard, go to YouTube or something and look at stuff that George Carlin has. He took philosophy and how people, especially politicians and people who wanted to control other people's lives, and he actually, in a very witty, insightful, psychological way, he told the truth, and it was funnier than hell. So you need to pick up his. He's another guy. I don't recall why he passed. I don't know if it was drug. I don't think it was drugs, but it could have been with him. I don't know. Here's something to make everybody fearful about. And those of you who are, remember the movie with John Cusack? 2012. Was that the movie 2012 or something? The end of mankind or what have you. And they pointed out to Yellowstone and the super volcano. Well, this is coming from express.co.uk. Again, an out-of-country publication is pointing out something. There's nothing that we can do about it if this is actually true, but scientists are warning over supervolcano that could kill millions. So they're asking, is Yellowstone about to blow? Now, the scientists have warned the world is in volcano season, and there's up to a 10% chance of an eruption killing millions of people and devastating the planet from the supervolcano that is basically takes up Yellowstone National Park. Now, for instance, volcano eruptions are at their highest for 300 years, and scientists fear a major one that could kill millions and devastate the planet as a real possibility. So no meteorite crashing into the planet. But there's also this thing that's been happening in Oklahoma, the Plain States area has been experiencing this rash of minor and medium-sized earthquakes. So they're calling it an earthquake storm. And it's been going on for a few months now. It hasn't stopped. I don't know what that says or means, and I don't know if that could possibly be connected with the super volcano in Yellowstone. But something is amiss that's going on, and I know some people are trying to say that it's all due to fracking, but I got to tell. That is not due to fracking. It's not due to fracking. And we've got science that shows us that that's not due to fracking. It's just the way the planet is and what the planet is going through. Could be gravitational forces outside the planet that are pulling and yanking on the planet that we're starting to feel the effects of this stuff. This is way above my level of scientific education. So, but I can just sit back and say that, maybe there is a little bit of a problem. I don't think that the super volcano is going to erupt anytime soon, but maybe there are some other issues that we should be paying attention to. Not that it's the end of the world as we know it, not even quoting the song, but there you go. But there might be other issues at play that we're just not paying attention to, and our government isn't telling us jack. Why? Because everybody's going to run around and be and Be scared. Well, maybe you should start watching those programs about preppers. I'm just saying. Not getting into the George Nuri field. I don't know. Well, maybe it is aliens out there, poking and prodding at our planet for some reason. I don't know. Because they're trying to take resources, precious items and minerals that we don't know anything about yet. Don't they? What is it they do? Because they use different types of resources and precious elements in Star Trek, right? For the warp engines and everything. We don't know how to. There's stuff in the ground that we don't know how to use. There's stuff in the air we don't know how to use yet. I love when people say we're running out of precious resources on this planet. No, we're not. Everything's a resource. We just don't know how to use everything yet. So, who knows? Maybe there's just... I know some people are going to be out... Rod believes in aliens. I know that... I love giving fodder for people to take me out of context. Rod believes that aliens are tapping into our planet. Like I don't know if there are aliens. I don't know if they are tapping into our planet. I don't know if they're doing maybe they're doing experiments on our political leaders like Paul Ryan. That's a probability. I'm going to leave that door open for people to explore. And something on a more serious note. Obama, and this is with all of the refugees and illegal immigrants going on. Washington Examiner is reporting that Obama eyes 6 military bases to house surge of illegal immigrants. What we're going to start using military bases in order to house illegals? Now, the new surge of illegal immigrant youths has forced the federal government to look at an emergency plan to house them at 6 military bases, at least 2 federal worker centers, according to the administration. Now, the Pentagon is beginning site assessment at bases as far north as North Dakota and Massachusetts. Now, the Office of Refugee Resettlement. I did not know we had an Office of Refugee Resettlement. Well, I suppose maybe that we were going to have that type of an office. So many refugees out there, right? But this is an office at the HHS and is expanding its capacity to provide shelter for the current influx of unaccompanied children at the U.S. southern border. This temporary increased shelter capacity is a prudent step needed to ensure that the Office of Refugee Resettlement meets its statutory responsibility to provide shelter for the unaccompanied children referred to its care and assist the CBP in ensuring that the U.S. Border Patrol continues its vital national security mission to prevent illegal immigration and trafficking. So just let all of these wonderful underage illegal children enter the United States. That's what we're supposed to do, right? All these wonderful innocent little children entering the United States. And they're sending letters. We know that they're bragging about being let go and being repatriated all across the country because they're telling their brothers, sisters, cousins, come on and join them. So parents are releasing their children to head to the border because they know that we're the idiots that are going to let them in because it's all about the children. Now, look, I'm going to be cruel. Send them all back. Because where you have kids, you have adults. Well, that is the sound of the end of today's program. We'll be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel for the first Freedom Friday of the new year. Until then, I'm Rod Eccles. It's been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.